God. It's physical pain. It's actual physical pain. It's like the worst possible outcome because it's the hope that kills you, and there was genuine hope. I honestly thought there was a world that we were going to do it, and then to watch Kai Havertz do that and celebrate that Judas. Oh, God. I'm already desperately praying that Manchester City win that final. I'm already totally consumed with a hate watch. I'm already doing the Poznan at Wembley in spirit. I am already imagining the world where Erling Haaland scores after 4 minutes. I'm there. I'm singing Blue Moon. I've got my inflatable banana. That was just too much. It couldn't have gone worse. It basically couldn't have gone worse. That is honestly the worst outcome, the worst possible format. Everything that went wrong could have gone wrong. There is not a worse way to lose a game of football than that to them in those circumstances, in the pouring rain, on a Tuesday night, and they were there for the taking. It's so frustrating because they were there for the taking. I am now speaking to you directly, Pep. It seems to all be going wrong. I don't know if there is a disaster going on at Manchester City. I don't know if the players are no longer buying into you. I don't know if you are now a spent force. I don't know if you were going to be there. But Pep Guardiola, I have one favour to ask you. I have one thing, literally one thing. I've never asked anything of you, Pep. We go a long way back. I've known of you for a long time. I was at Stamford Bridge when you were playing against us in 1999 and Jody Morris was running rings around you. I've known you for a long time. And Pep Guardiola, I'm speaking to you directly, sir. I have nothing but respect for you. You are the second greatest manager to have ever existed in the Premier League era in this country. Please, pull it out of the bag. Do everything that you possibly can to succeed. You cannot bow out into the wilderness, allowing this team to win more than one trophy. They're already... It's about as bad as it could be, isn't it? It's basically disgusting. It's about as disgusting an end to anything that you could possibly see would be. Nothing is worse than that. Kai Havertz scoring in the last minute. And do you know what's so frustrating? They were there for the taking. Arsenal weren't even good. We could have beaten them today. I do not understand. I don't know. Did you see this news? Like, it broke and it was released by that Johnson who writes for the Athletic. He was like, Reece James is not injured. Reece James is not injured. He is rested. And you're like, wait, what on earth are we resting you for? We're playing a semi-final against Arsenal. You got Wembley at stake. What on earth are we resting players for? How does this make any sense? How can people be okay with this? Oh, man. We just didn't do enough. And I think it's the approach. Like, I don't want to get all moany because ultimately Arsenal are a really good side, but we didn't really do enough to win the game. We didn't start on the front foot. It was basically stay in the game. We went into it, stay in the game, get to 60 minutes, bring on our pacey players, bring on our more skillful players and hope for the best after that. The first super chat of the night has landed from Charlie Knight. Charlie Knight says, King Kai Havertz... Mate, I'm not reading this nonsense. Listen, I respect the sanctity of the super chat as much as anyone else, Charlie, but don't expect me to read that. Since Chelsea's won a win, we've beaten you on both occasions. Do you know what? I've got to say to you, mate? How many European Cups you won? How many? Genuine question. How many European Cups have you won? That's all I've got to say to you. I've got no interest in anything other than that. I've got no interest in talking about anything other than that. Absolutely. Look, this is my question to you, Charlie. You want to do a super chat to me? I'm doing a super chat back to you, mate. What about that? What do you reckon to that? Can you see that? That says Chelsea 2, Arsenal 0. That's the real score, mate. That is the real quiz. See that? That's the real score. That's the real quiz. Put that in your pipe. Eze was brilliant. Yeah, I thought Eze did have a good game. Zubimendi was interesting. I rate Zubimendi really highly, and I was worried about him. I was worried about that Arsenal midfield. I felt like Zubimendi was going to be a problem for us, but ultimately he wasn't. He wasn't quite as good as I rate him very highly. Aljo says that was rough. Smart from them to do a low block. I mean, was it? You're obviously an Arsenal fan. That was rough. Smart from them to do a low block. What was smart about it? What was particularly smart? I don't know if it was smart. Like, I understand that you have to keep in the game, but also you're losing. You can't draw the game. That's a great approach if a draw would have got us through. But a draw gets them through. And we're the ones who set up defensively. Kind of had a draw written all over it, didn't it? Because we didn't really set up to win, and they didn't need to win. Like, I don't know, man. I felt like we should have just gone all-out attack. When was the last time City beat Arsenal, Rory? 60 million down the drain, you know the rest. Yeah, I do know the rest of that hateful song. Oh, God. I'm consumed with just utter bitterness. Do you know that? Do you know, I honestly believe, football is about who you love. It's also about who you hate. Do you know, I honestly believe that I have as much hatred in my heart as I do love. I honestly am totally consumed by rivalry now. From here on out, I basically, for the rest of the season, support Man City. Seriously, I need an inflatable banana. I'm going to do the Poznan. I'm going to be singing Blue Moon. I'm going to be talking about the Kipaks, mate. All right, mate, yeah, mad for it. Talking about Man City. That's going to be me now for the rest of the season. Oh, God, mate. I honestly can't believe how bad that was. It was. I think if you could have scripted the worst way that could go, that was it, wasn't it? It couldn't be worse for me because we were constantly in the game. One goal, listen to the words I'm saying, one goal I believe would have taken us through. I understand how scoring works, but I believe one goal would have set us in the ascendancy and we were always capable of scoring. Couldn't Arsenal have just had the decency to put it out of sight? Like, we were holding on, we were desperate, we were nearly there, it was always coming, I always believed it was like keeping me on the edge of my seat right until the very last minute, and then in the very last minute, like actual physical pain. When Kai Havertz goes round the keeper, you're just thinking, nah, like, I beg you, do a Torres, mate. I'm begging of you, do a Ronnie Rosenthal, do a Fernando Torres in front of the Stretford end. Please, just make a pig's ear of it. Give me this. Arsenal still progress, but just give me this. You go around the keeper and you fall over. Don't roll it into the net, please. Oh, you fuck. Yeah, mate, that was just horrific. Like, everything about it, everything about today has just been horrific. Pouring with rain, Arsenal go to Wembley, Chelsea are out, Kai Havertz scores. We actually lose the game. And the worst thing, Arsenal are the best team in the country, okay? I'm not a juvenile. I'm not just going to pretend they're not. Arsenal are the best team in the country. But they were there for the taking tonight. Even if you're an Arsenal fan, I think you would have to agree that you were there for the taking. You didn't play particularly well. Your midfield wasn't quite as coherent as it is. We could have got at your back line. And we didn't make the most of it. Do you know how much more that makes it hateful? Like, if Arsenal had just been at their utter best, their most dominant, when they were relentless. If Arsenal had been like they were against Atletico Madrid, you sort of go, do you know what? There's nothing you can do. When Arsenal are in full flow, when Arsenal's spine play like that, when Arteta gets it so right, there's nothing you can do, and you hold your hands up. And on some level, the gentleman in me goes, yeah, do you know what? Arsenal, fair play. You're a better side. You're a better side. You deserved it. I don't think they were. I feel like they could have been got out. I feel like they could have been beaten. I don't think they played particularly well. I don't think they offered that much. I feel like if we had been a little bit braver, gone for the victory, we would have won the game. I honestly do. The Badass Mike reckons, Mikel Arteta to Chelsea, look at me, I am the special one now. Listen, Badass Mike, let me tell you this. You do not get to anoint yourself the special one without a European Cup. The reason why Jose Mourinho had the audacity, but also the legitimacy to announce himself as the special one was because of what reason? It was because of his European Cup win. This is the real score. Just remember the score today. Call it what you like. That's the actual score. So, No, badass Mike. Mikel Arteta did not look at Chelsea and call us a special one. It's a way that you could possibly. It's a way that you could possibly justify. Oh, just shut up, Mike. Like, do you know what? This badass Mike, I was actually going to give him like the legitimacy of answering him his question. I was actually going to give him the courtesy of answering his question. But he doesn't mean it. He's come on here to do nothing other than be a mug. And that's why he's got a mug's name, like a badass Mike. Charlie Knight, 60 million down the drain. What the hell are you doing? I'm not talking about this guy. This guy, Kai Havertz, is banned from this channel. He will never, ever be mentioned. I won't even talk about him, about what happened in 2021. I will make a deal with you. This is how much I loathe and detest that man. I won't even acknowledge what happened in 2021. I won't even acknowledge it. Yeah, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, didn't happen in Portugal. It didn't happen. Chelsea won the tournament, but it was because of Thiago Silva. I will never, ever talk about this guy again. My God, that was just... and who was that anyway? Charlie Knight. Nick says, nothing. I Want Candy says, as an Arsenal fan, I can finally unclench. Chelsea played so good. Chelsea played so well. What is wrong? Chelsea played so well. I was legitimately concerned. Yeah, you should have been concerned, I Want Candy. Yeah, you should have been concerned. Because that wasn't a convincing performance from you. That's all I'm going to say. It wasn't a convincing performance from you. And if you play like that against Man City at Wembley, if they can get their act together, if they can just get their act together. Oh, God. Losing to Arsenal, then ask others for favours to stop them. Are you Tottenham? Mate, that one cuts me deep. Do you know what? That's a horrible super chat. Do you know why that one's so horrible? Because there's a truth in it. I was never, ever that guy. We would always take our own destiny in our own hands. We would never, ever have to adopt the policy. You know that policy? My enemy's enemy is my friend. Who's my enemy? Arsenal. Who's therefore my friend? Man City. Who's Arsenal's enemy? Man City. Therefore, my enemy's enemy is my friend. We would always take the responsibility in our own hands. I would always believe that we will stop Arsenal winning the Carling Cup because we will beat them in the semi-final. I would always believe that we will stop Arsenal winning the FA Cup because we will beat them ultimately in the FA Cup final. Instead of that, we're very early in the season really for this, aren't we? And yet I'm having to make alliances. I'm having to basically make alliances to do anything to insulate me from the pain that is Arsenal winning silverware. Are you Tottenham in disguise, he says. Comes on here giving it a big one like that. Are you Tottenham in disguise? Nick Lazubek says, Rory, I love you in your show. And that's the end of his sentence. He didn't say anything other than that. That's just a really kind super chat. That's really kind of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I promise you, he didn't say anything other than that. Rory, I love you and I love your show. Nick Lazubek, you're a good guy. Rumen Poryov says, come on, Rory. One title pre-Roman. Know your place. In the last 50 years, Chelsea and Arsenal won the same amount of leagues. So don't give it a big one. In the last 50 years, we've won the same amount. And you don't want to do any more. You don't want to do any more chat. You don't want to do Premier League era conversation because it gets very messy. You want to talk about 13 league titles. You're going pre-war. You're going pre-war when you were south of the River Club. You're going pre-war, mate. So don't come on here talking about pre-Roman one title. Well, you really want to go back? Do you want to go back to when you were south of the River Club? Do you want to go back to when you were barely playing in London? You were so far south. Do you want to go back to when you befriended a Tory MP to move you to North London? Do you want to do that? Do you want to go back? And when you bribed your way into the league because you should have been relegated? Do you want to do that when you bribed your way in using your connections to a Conservative MP to get yourself back into the Premier League because you should have been launched out of it? You were relegated. And do you know what you did? You paid your way back in. That's what you did, Arsenal. You paid your way back into the top flight. You really want to do the chat? Clown. He's kissed the badge. You truly love to see it. I don't love to see it. I don't. Do you know what? I actually resent myself for ever giving Kai Havertz love. For ever celebrating Kai Havertz goals. I actually now detest myself. I'm full of anger and self-loathing. Kai Havertz scored a last-minute winner for us against Newcastle United. in my opinion, that goal didn't count. That goal didn't happen. That goal did not happen. It doesn't count. Not interested. Arsenal weren't even that good. Were Chelsea? No. That's okay. That's an interesting one. CKE 1991. He says, Arsenal weren't even that good. Were Chelsea? He asked the question. I imagine he's being rhetorical, but let's answer it anyway. Were Chelsea that good? No. But we should have been, and that's what's infuriating. This is why I'm saying it's the worst possible way. It's the worst possible way to ever lose a game of football. I guarantee you this. People won't agree with this, but I know that I'm right. I know for a fact that I'm right. If you're going to lose a game of football to Arsenal, do you know how you lose? You lose early. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. I can put Emma Del Farm on, man. I don't need to be watching that. Get it out of the way. The Chelsea fans in their way in, they can get to the pub early. They can make their way home early. Everyone's got work in the morning. It's pouring with rain in North London. Get out of there. Get out of that hellhole. Ashburton. Get away, right? Instead of that, we're dreaming, we're believing. It's coming. One goal takes us through. I truly believe one goal takes us through. And it kept us there until the final seconds of the game where we all hung about. Nobody's had the luxury of leaving because we all believe that it's going to go to extra time. So everybody is glued to it. Not one away fan has left early. Not one fan from around the world watching on telly has turned over. We're all glued to it. And then Kai Havertz scores. It's just painful. It's just painful. And I'll tell you what, you lot, if any of you subscribed, I'll tell you, this is the rude thing. You tune in now, you're not here for good reasons. You're bad people. You're bad people. All of you watching. 90% of you, some of them are hardcore, you'd be here anyway, right? You'd be here debating the game, debating the pros and cons of the game. Who are you, additional 1,000 people? Who are you? You all just come on to be arses. You're not here for the right reasons. You're not here for good and true and proper reasons. You're not here for fair and just reasons. You're here to be an arse. And yeah, I know who you are. No Saka, no Odegaard, no Jesus, no Raya. Easy win. Listen to this WD945. Charlie Knight, this guy's back again. He's like a renegade master. Cole Palmer ghosting again. Saka cleared. Do you honestly believe that Bukayo Saka's the best footballer? Do you want to have this chat? Do you honestly believe that Bukayo Saka is a better footballer than Cole Palmer? Because that is madness. That is absolute and utter madness. There isn't one attribute of the game that Bukayo Saka is a better player than Cole Palmer. There just isn't one thing. But look, you know what? If we're going to do this really honestly, right, I must say it's big for Arsenal. It is huge getting to the final. It is huge if Arsenal can win it. I think that you can be quite dismissive of this trophy. I think that people can be, and Arsenal over the years under Wenger was quite dismissive of it. But what I must concede, frustratingly, is that if you win this, it could whet your appetite. It could send you on to bigger things. It could potentially inspire more silverware. And that is why it's such a painful thing to see Arsenal now get to Wembley. You get a joyful day at Wembley. You get the opportunity to really derail Man City. You know, if you're an Arsenal fan, I think you should be looking at this, thinking, what you could do is win the cup. And the priority should be make history, win silverware. But the other thing that Arsenal get to do, you're going to play, almost definitely, you're going to play your title rival for this trophy. If you play your title rival for this trophy and you beat them, that's something symbolic that happened. You go to Wembley and Arteta beats Guardiola, I actually believe that guarantees you the league title. I think the league title will be won and lost at Wembley. I don't think the Arsenal, who are now the front runner, I don't think Arsenal can lose it at Wembley. City always win the League Cup. I don't think it changes them. I don't think City winning a League Cup has the impact that Arsenal winning the League Cup has. City beating Arsenal, Guardiola beating Arteta, is obviously not as symbolic as Arsenal beating City, Arteta beating Guardiola. So there is a huge opportunity here, and that is why we needed to do more. That is why we needed to deprive Arsenal of that opportunity. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But the worst thing is, it's the approach. It's the approach. Like, we approached it. Do you think this is the right analysis? I felt like we approached it as if we were Queen's Park Rangers going to the Emirates. You know, if QPR went to the Emirates, they would approach it in the way that we approached it. We basically went there as a small club. Like, we are a big club. We have a history of winning silverware. We have a history of winning at the Emirates. We have a history of beating Arsenal. We have a history of beating Arsenal when it most matters. And we have gone there and we've basically made it a non-event. We didn't go to... What we should have done is go and fight you. Turn up and fight. Turn up and demand that we win. And do you know what? Arsenal are the best side in the country. So if that happened, if we turned up and made it a flashy fight, you go, do you know what? Fair enough. The game was finished 3-2 again and Arsenal have won. The game was finished 3-1 to Arsenal. The game was finished 2-0 to Arsenal. But at least we would have gone there with fight. At least we could have kind of left. Do you remember when Jose Mourinho actually did it at the Emirates, didn't he? Do you remember Jose Mourinho's chin up? I feel like if we'd gone there and lost 2-0, but really had a fight, really made it a thing, really gone for the jugular, I think we could have come out of it like quite proud. Whereas realistically, you're like, I don't really know what we can clutch onto here. We've gone there and it's an embarrassment. We've gone there and we've told Arsenal they're better than us. We've gone there and we've told Arsenal that we're scared of them. We've gone there and we've told Arsenal that we aren't capable of outfighting them. We've gone there and told them that we aren't capable of outthinking them. We've just gone there and surrendered. And that is so not in keeping with our qualities. That is so not in keeping with our history. Like, depending on your age, if you're over the age of about 30 odd, you'll know an era where Arsenal were a lot better than Chelsea. Even when Arsenal were a lot better than us, we would always go and fight you. Like, I genuinely remember, I was young at the time, I was about 13. I went to Highbury and Arsenal were much better than us there and we beat them 5-0. In this competition, by the way. Gianluca Vialli scored a hat-trick. Like, I remember Dennis Wise scoring in a 3-3 draw when Arsenal were better than us. Like, we would go and fight. We would go and make it something. Like, I don't know what we've done here. We've just gone and we've told Arsenal that they're better than us. We've gone and we've admitted that they're better than us. And we've gone there and we've surrendered and we're scared. Like, this isn't acceptable. This modern relationship that we have with Arsenal isn't acceptable. And it isn't about them being in good form and us not being in good form. It's about us fighting. Like, what's happening at Arsenal? Why are Arsenal like that? And Chelsea are on the decline. Like, I genuinely don't understand it. It really is so frustrating. And Arsenal now have an unbeaten 10-game run against us. Like, we haven't beaten Arsenal for 10 games. And then you think of the cup finals that we've had. Like, they beat us in the cup final when we were champions, man. Dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No, it's really bad. Wow, I've just seen a massive super chat land, by the way. Thank you very much. That's from the Swift-Eyed Wolf, who says, Arsenal are the real deal. We sold players to fund a stadium, back to equilibrium. This is what should have happened for the last 20 years. We did it the right way. Arsenal... No. See, this is the problem with Arsenal fans. What do you mean you did it the right way? What did you do exactly the right way? Do you really want... You know this kind of, like, classy thing that Arsenal try and adopt? This kind of Marble Halls history. The history is that. But let's not try and pretend that Arsenal have done everything in the most classy way of late. Let's not try and pretend that Arsenal haven't done exactly what everyone else has done. Is your link to Stan Kroenke particularly classy? Is your link to Usmanov particularly classy? Are all of your players over the last 5 years been very classy? Let's not try and pretend that Arsenal are this beacon of football hope. Let's be very honest. Arsenal fans often want to tarnish Chelsea. They often want to have a pop at Chelsea. They often want to talk about Roman Abramovich. But let's not try and pretend here that Arsenal are existing on a different plane. Let's not try and pretend here that Arsenal are seen as being something better. Arsenal are the best team in the country. No doubt about it. Arsenal have the best spine in the country. No doubt about it. Arsenal have some of the best players in the country. No doubt. And really painfully, the worst sentence I can say, Arsenal have some players that I even like. And I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, I really like Bukayo Saka. He's from Greenford, man. Like, I think he's class. I think Declan Rice is a geezer. But let's not try and pretend that Arsenal are a better club or position themselves as better. That's something that Arsenal fans seem to do. This like classy, hashtag Marble Halls, the Marble Hall tradition of Highbury. She wore a yellow ribbon and all that. That isn't it. That just isn't who Arsenal are. And I do find that very frustrating. Football is polluted. And Arsenal are as toxic as everyone else. And anyone, as our very generous super chatter has come in here and suggested, that winds me up. Just remember, you're the team that bribed yourselves out of South London. You are the team that should be playing in Woolwich. You are the team that bribed your way into the top flight when you should have been relegated. You are the team that had links to a bent Tory peer, a corrupt Tory peer. You are the team who did that. So listen, Chelsea, Chelsea fans know who we are. But it's weird desperation for Arsenal to try and position themselves as something else. Nah, absolutely not. Hi Rory, watched you for a long time and always find you very balanced. You say it how it is, and that's why I came here to see your view. Chin up, says the North Bank historian. That sounds like an interesting name. You know, like the history of the North Bank and that. I'd find that fascinating. Thank you very much. Hey mate, how many times do we have to destroy you for you to accept Arteta is bigger than Chelsea will ever be? Yeah. How many European Cups has Arteta won? I feel like Arsenal fans forget that very recently we played each other in a European final. We played each other in Baku. How did that go? We played each other in a European final. Genuine question, Rory. Who's bigger? Who's a bigger Judas, Havertz or Mount? Mount. 1 billion spent. Conceded to Havertz, blocked by Kepa. Danny Duggan-Zig. Oh. But look, what I must admit is that Arsenal are moving in the right direction. They are undoubtedly moving in the right direction. They're playing incredibly well. They're getting things done. They are now they're top of the league. They're in every competition. They're going to be playing Pep Guardiola's Man City at Wembley, which could be absolutely huge. Like, the fact that they are heading to Wembley to play Guardiola is such a gift. The fact that they are heading to Wembley and still fighting on every single front is just unreal. And do you know what? The game today was rubbish, wasn't it? Low quality, not enough happened. And the fact that Arsenal still come away with it with the victory was just perfect for them. It was just perfect for them. It was kind of exactly what they needed. And their fans will feel energised. Like, it was a terrible game of football. But I imagine if you're an Arsenal fan, you're feeling incredibly energised by that. Like, they just have to really, really enjoy it. But I have to hold my hands up. It's a massive, massive result for Arsenal. Like, it's such a big result. And I honestly think that if Arsenal now get themselves into a situation where they can go and win a League Cup, which they're obviously capable of doing, they're obviously capable of beating Guardiola, I feel like it almost guarantees them the league title. Because, it's going to be terrible, isn't it? Because you win a trophy. I've seen it happen. It invigorates a team. It energises a fan base. It creates a belief that you didn't know possibly even existed, and that in itself can be so intoxicating for fans, for players. So it's just going so well for Arsenal, and to win in the way that they did, you know, it was a very cool finish from Havertz, wasn't it? Like, if you were in the Emirates, you know, when you watched Havertz get the ball, I think Martinelli was alongside him. You just know that he's going to round the keeper. You just know that he's going to find the back of the net. You just know that he's going to put the tie to bed, and you just know that it is going to break every single Chelsea fan's heart. But the reasoning why is hard work. Like, the reasoning why is incredibly hard work. Like, I'm sort of numb at our approach because it's just not who we are. Like, we don't go there and defend. We don't go there and nullify. We don't go there and try and be anti-football. We don't go there and acknowledge that Arsenal are better than us. And that's exactly what we did. Like, if you're non-tribal about it, you basically go, Chelsea got what we deserved, which was nothing out of the game. And it doesn't really make sense. You know, when you look at the lineup, you look at the players that were playing for Chelsea, you've got World Cup winners in it. You've got some of the best players in the league. Moises Caicedo, Cole Palmer, Estevao on some definition, right? Some of the best players in the league. World Cup winner, like Cucurella, Euros winner. You're like, why have we gone there and played like that? Why have we gone there and just defended? And do you know, at the end, I think Wesley Fofana looked like he was in tears. And do you know what? He's going to sound incredibly harsh. But mate, you should be crying. You actually should be crying. You like, I'm crying. I'm from North London, mate. I'm crying. But you should be crying because you've gone there and you haven't really had a go. You haven't really done anything. You haven't really asked any questions. Like, what's the difference between going there, defending for your lives, waving the white flag, admitting they're better than us, and then all going there, really having a go, really having a fight, coming out with our chins held high and losing? You can lose either way. One way you lose valiantly. The other way, you lose valiantly. One way you lose valiantly, but you might win. The other way, you won't win, and you come out of it and say, yeah, we were kind of untouched. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Ruben Poriov says that's too rich from me. You talking about we paid our way to whatever. Listen, I think if Arsenal fans want to try and take a moral high ground, I just don't get it. I really don't. I don't get it with any football. When you look at the amount of money and the people involved in football, I think anybody claiming a moral high ground over anybody else is on very murky ground. But also, you don't need to do that. You can honestly, you can just talk about how good your team are. We don't need to go into that kind of other territory. But yeah, it's a real mess. I think there's a few new people watching it. Would you do us a favour if you're new? Would you click subscribe? It would be my honour to welcome you into this community. I'd love it. I love going live like this. I love having the back and forth as well. I appreciate everyone who's tuned in. And if you are new around here, please do click subscribe. Massively helps me out. We're about 300 subscribers away from the promised land. So if anyone is watching not subscribed, please do consider clicking that subscribe button. Massively helps me out. So thank you so much. But yeah, it's just a heartbreaker because we basically played into their hands. We basically did exactly what an amateur manager would do. We basically did what Mikel Arteta would want us to do. And it is so frustrating. So frustrating. You know, I also thought that, you know, when we brought on Palmer and Esteval, I was really expecting something. I was really expecting a lift. I was really expecting something to happen. And it didn't really have any impact. It didn't really work. But I'm actually, you know, the more I think about it now and sort of discussing it with you and reading your thoughts. Isaiah here says, hi, Rory. Hope all is well. Nothing but love. Everything is not well, Isaiah. Everything is not well. We've just lost in the most damaging way to the most damaging team we could. So no, Isaiah, all is not well. But I do appreciate you tuning in. Ben, by the way, Guna here, Rory. You're just a wealthy Watford right now, accept it. Go from manager to manager. And nowadays, listen, Ben. If you want to make this, if you want to make this about Chelsea of today, fine. Like, the Chelsea of today is a club I don't recognise. The Chelsea today under this ownership isn't a club that I have the rapport with that I once did. I don't like the ownership. I don't like the direction. But think about who Chelsea are and what we represent. Like, it's very different. But what was a sickener today? And like I say, almost having this therapeutic chat with you all, and I do appreciate you all tuning in, it makes me realise that was so bad. I'm sort of numb at what happened because nothing happened. We've played a semi-final. Fuck. We've played a semi-final against one of our bitterest rivals away from home in a game that we were capable of winning. And I don't think that's controversial. Look, if you're an Arsenal fan, can you let me know in the comments? I truly believe that we could have won that game today. Surely if you're an Arsenal fan, you must concede you weren't at your best. You must concede that Zubimendi didn't have his best game. You must concede that Victor Gyökeres wasn't exactly giving us a threat. Noni Madueke, he was a little bit inconsistent. You must admit that if we had been brave, if we had got our act together, if we had gone for the jugular, I honestly think that we could have got something out of the game. And yet we didn't even try to. We didn't even try to. We didn't even ask any questions. It was as if we were happy to go out as valiant losers. It was as if we almost opted in to losing in the most polite way, in the most palatable way. You know, if there's such a thing, and in my opinion there isn't, but you know, if there's a good defeat, in my opinion, a good defeat is an oxymoron, right? You can't have a good defeat. But some people would say, you know, you lose well. I think that Chelsea almost subscribed to losing well today. We almost opted in to losing well, losing without any drama. You know, on some level, the history books will be quite kind to Rosenior. The scoreline is quite kind to Rosenior. Arsenal got what they want out of the day, which is the glory. Chelsea got what we want out of the day, which is not humiliation. But it was like, why on earth didn't we upset their rhythm? Why on earth didn't we make it as horrible as possible? Like, you know, when we make things horrible for teams, we can make it really horrible. We can make it really spiteful. We have certain players that can make life so uncomfortable for the opposition. Like Cucurella does something mad. Cucurella should have had like Noni Madueke in a headlock or something. Like Enzo Fernandez should have been at his snarling best. And what we should have been doing is peppering Kepa Arrizabalaga with shot and cross and cross and shot. We didn't do that. We didn't do that. And it's so not in keeping with who we are. You know, when you look at our players, you've got really good players on the pitch. You've got really, really proven players on the pitch. You've got elite level victors on the pitch. Like, whatever you think of Enzo Fernandez, Geezer won the World Cup. Whatever you think of Marc Cucurella, Geezer won the Euros. They are both existing champions in an international sense. And Chelsea ourselves, we won the Club World Cup, right? So, and European Silverware last year, if you want to take that competition seriously. I don't understand how we have that. And yet, we've gone out with a whimper in a semi-final of a big competition. That's the other thing. Anyone that tries to disregard this competition, immediately ignore them. You know, if you end up listening to a Chelsea fan who was to say something like, I don't rate the League Cup anyway. I don't care about the League Cup. The League Cup is an insignificant competition. I completely and utterly disagree. I'm jealous of Arsenal getting to the final. I rate the competition so highly. I'm so proud of our victories in it. And I wish that we were going to Wembley this year. I rate it. And yet, for some reason, we've managed to go into a competition like this and just leave it with an utter whimper. We've offered nothing. And I don't know if it was a lack of bravery. I don't know if it was a lack of maybe gambling. Like, should we have gambled? Should we have just gambled? Like, Arsenal probably win the game, but just go for it. Like, the tactics from the start. Get Reece James on. Get Esteval on. Get Cole Palmer on from the start and go, right, let's have it. Let's go. But as it is, I mean, it's just a shame. We had the opportunity to win the game and we didn't. And if we didn't win the game, we should have gone out in a blaze of glory. It should have been like the final scene of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. You know, where they just charge out and will que sera, man. Whatever will be, will be. It's not going to be Chelsea going to Wembley. And it's a missed opportunity. It really was. It really was there for us. I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you so much. Before you go anywhere, can I ask you, please do click subscribe. And if anyone is watching this video and hasn't yet given it a like, if you'd give it a like again, that would massively help me out. But please do click subscribe because I really do like going live like this. And it's only fun when you're here, really. I appreciate every single one of you who's given me your feedback, giving me your knowledge, and I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and allowing me to vent my upset, anger, embarrassment at that performance. The day belongs to Arsenal. The day belongs to Kai Havertz. All I can say is, by the time it comes to the final, I will be singing Sheikh Mansour went to Spain in a Lamborghini, brought us back a manager whose name was Pellegrini. Congratulations, Arsenal. You were the victors, and to the victor the spoils. You're going to Wembley. I'm going to bed. Sad. Ta-da.